I want your mastering proper.
Compound Audio, we specialise in digital and analogue mixing and mastering. Catering for major record labels, independent labels and self-finance artists.
Right now it's Azza from TNA. I'm here to let you know that I use Compound Audio for mastering.
This is Devilman and I use Dapz Compound Audio, yeah?
Hi, my name's DJ Rap and I have been working with Dapz from Compound Audio to master my records for the last 10 years.
Yo, this is DJ Fantasy, SAS in the house. And you know what? We use Compound Audio for all our mastering.
It's TJ, label A&R at D&B All Stars, and whenever it comes to getting tunes finalised and mastered, I go to Dapz at Compound Audio.
Yo, this is X-Man, and standardly I work with Dapz down at Compound Audio.
For more information, go to www.compoundaudio.net.
Welcome in, people. Right, we're back again with some more beats and bangers, pure feedback, no fluff. Already popping off. So, I'm having a little trouble with my internet tonight, so you have to let me know if everything's going well. Oh gosh, the chat box is just blowing. Wicked. Well, listen, we've got a couple of tunes today. Well, in fact, we got I think we got like 6, 7, 8, something like that. Let's just kick straight in with it. So Don Ryan, Babe. Okay. Just reading some of your comments. Yeah, and the first thing I was thinking of is like, it feels a bit dull. Like the track itself feels dull in the top end. But maybe it's the seesaw effect. Maybe we need to lower the low end and then raise the overall level back up. And then that way it would push everything else up, in theory. I agree with what you're saying. The vocals are dry. There's a couple of elements that are really dry in this. I mean, there's a clap just before the drop here as well. That could come right up. It needs to slap you in the face. It needs to slap your nan when this comes back in. There. Really, it'd be nice if... I mean, that would slap your nan in the face. So... Do you know what I mean? It just needs to come up, slap you like the wet fish. Yeah, I think that's what it is. The bottom end in this is there's a lot of rumble. I mean, I've just made this small cut. It looks a lot, but it's only 3 dB. Let's just play it with and without. It does sort of feel like a lot of that weight comes out of the tune. So it's going to be a case of getting that kick to just sit nicer with the bass line. Let's just have a look on here. We'll turn off the EQ. I mean, just looking at this, you can actually see that there's a nice separation from the kick in the bass, but just by looking at this bass itself, the colouring of it is it's like orange, red, and the kick's really red. So it's like an indication that maybe the kick's too warm, you know, it's too bass heavy in comparison to the bass line. So, I mean, the track's really well put together. It's it just needs to the balance needs to be better in the low end. There's not a great deal you can say. I mean, for me, it's the clap before the drop. Get that turned right up. Try and look at lowering the bass in the kick. Probably only make it softer, just a little bit softer, so that it excites the top end. So, jokes. But yeah, so the guy, Don Ryan, absolutely brilliant tune, mate. It's just, again, just trying to get that kick a little bit lower so that it feels like the top end comes up. I mean, that's sort of the angle I went. Maybe try and add some more reverb, delay, whatever, to make the vocals more wetter. Right, moving on. We've got man like Doms. Big up the Aim and Warfare crew. Oh gosh. So yeah, solid. Everything's really focused in the mids, as in the mono aspect of the tune. Just looking at the wave, is this like a copy paste for the second half of the tune, Doms? So for me, like, although this tune is absolutely rock solid, and I know you've got this booked in as well for mastering, much appreciated as always, it would just be nice if somewhere down the line you did some little pitch adjustments, you know, with the Amon. When you've just got the Amon break doing all the work and you've got no backing loops, as in no added kick or added snare, clap, whatever you want to call it, to enhance it, it's solid to get a Amon to sit really, really well in the mix. So, for example, just like throwing something out there. It would just be nice if the Amon kind of pitched around a little bit, moved it here and there. The arpeggiator sort of synth, it just, to me, because it feels loud, but it's only because it's consuming a lot of space in the sides, and not a lot of the other elements are in the sides, which is not a problem, because again, it's jungle. You know, all of this is in the sides, which is great, and that's how it would have been back in the day. The only stereo you would have had would have been from effects, as in your analog effects, or from the Akai's or Emu's effects board. That's the only sort of stereo you would have got. So yeah, again, this is solid. It's really, really good, and you know, I can master this as it is. It's not a problem. But let me know if you do feel like you wanted to go back and make any edits to the Amon. If the second half is like a copy paste, maybe that's where you should just add a couple of different things, a few little effects or something. I don't know. But again, this is just production style where it's down to the producer's choice. It's not like I've got nothing to say about the mix. The mix is great. Get rid of the ticking. That's in the sides, isn't it? That is that what you're talking about? It's not really noticeable in mono, but in the sides you can definitely hear it. So again, depending how you made this, Doms, if you're still there, if you made this synth, then cool. Maybe have a look at using some sort of attack to soften those transients a little. Right, so I've put punctuate on, which is a transient shaper. So what we'll do is we'll go from emphasize down to suppress. Obviously we're in sides because that's where the issue is. So if I deactivate, it's clucking like a clucker. I've removed it using the whole track just by using this plugin in sides, but if need be, I would do that in the mastering stage, but it would be far better if this was done in the mix. So yeah, let us know, Doms, if you created that sound in a synth. If so, have a look in the synth, see if you can amend those clucks. Next up, we have Conclave. Man like Conclave.
Why tell me why I can't sleep at night without you?
That's it now. This is going to be stuck in my head. That vocal is just going to be stuck in my head. I remember, I swear to God, we mastered this like a year ago or something, Conclave. I think you just want the promotion. That's what it is. You just want the tune played for promotion. So yeah, I mean, listening to the tune, Conclave, is this the mastered file that we did, or is this just like a different version? Because I do remember it, but I just thought I'd ask. Again, it's solid tune, but I think some of the stuff you're doing now, you've got more sort of like like me and Moisin, like this metals. It's metals in the tune. Honestly, when Moisin got some feedback from a really well-known person, it's sort of like they just mentioned the word, you need more metals. And since then, it's like we've always just gone, oh, that tune needs more metals. Do you know what I mean? It's just a thing now that you instantly think of.
Why don't you tell me why I can't sleep
I mean, at the end of the day, I know this is more of a, you know, the vocals doing the work, the B lines there, and the drums. It's not so much like drum and bass in your face. It's only till this second drop that the tune picks up. There's a lot of weight in there as well, and I'm thinking maybe that's just due to the key of the tune. I mean, you can see down here, you've got a lot of space between the kick and the bass, which is nice. These orange dots are the fundamental of the snare. It's poking really well. What would have been nice is to hear just some more uprising sounds, you know, like uplifting sounds, like as in the effects, rises and stuff. Maybe to just give it a bit more energy or something, or maybe it's just because I've heard this before. But otherwise, mate, solid tune. It's great. Maybe it's because we mastered it. I don't know. Or maybe it's just your mix. So, moving on. Honestly, we're flying through these today. These first lot of tunes are solid. Dom's, yours was wicked. Dom Ryan's was a really, really good tune as well. Moving on to Kill Them Dead. Limited version. Wow. I tell you what, that I did not expect that on the drop. So yeah, I mean, Doms, if you're still in the chat, bro, that's what I was trying to get at with the Eamon thing. If this was in its prime, the prime time of early 90s, like 91, 92, this would just be like perfect. The problem we face is that because we're living in 2023, where do you categorise this? Obviously, it's jungle, hardcore. It's a tricky one because how do you mix it? How do you go about mixing it? Do you keep it original? Do you keep it like realistic of how it would have been? Which means you wouldn't get the overall loudness of modern music today. It just wouldn't handle it. I've put a limiter on here and it's hitting. I mean, we're just dipping into the -6 LUFS short term, which is really loud for this style of music. Because, I mean, this sort of stuff would have been -11, -14 LUFS back in the day, going to vinyl and stuff. I believe this is a track by Master 4. And I was hoping he could have come in the chat today. The thing is, with like 4 to the floor stuff, I feel like T-Rack's stealth limiter sounds really good. Believe it or not, it's very similar to Pro L2. But you haven't got all the attack and release. It kind of just does it for you. So on house music, anything 4/4 or that needs to be rounded, this is really nice. It sounds great. Drum and bass and stuff, you know, you want something a bit more edgy to keep the transients. So anyway, I was just going to have a little flick and see what's going on with the EQ. One thing I did notice was that the track is just mono. It is just purely mono. Look. And even in this side here, look, it's just a line. And I thought, oh, have I got it in mono? Yeah, so the Eamon, for me, is very spitty. It's like very rinsing. Yeah. I think it's a combination of needs more mids. It definitely needs more mids. Just back it off on the limiter a little bit now. So yeah, I think the breaks need a lot more mids to sort of help push them through, but that Eamon needs a lot of top end being taken out. And this is going back to what I was saying about your tune, Doms. Your Eamon was sitting lovely in the track. It was just there up front. It didn't sound harsh. It didn't have any whistles, you know, like resonances or anything like that. Whereas this, it just feels very like shower. It's like shh. So I'll bypass this EQ. Yeah, it's one of those. It's a solid tune, but I think what you need to do is have a look at why it's just pure mono. There is not one single thing in stereo, so maybe that was an export error. Look at the Eamon. It's very fizzy, tizzy, however you want to call it. Just very, very bright. So look at sorting that out. And all the other breaks need mids. They need a lot more mids. This is great. This is like some old Slipmat thing. It's here, this little hump here, look. So just by soloing that bit there, you can hear that all we can make out is the break. So in that break, I would definitely be dipping around 2.5K, 3K, because that just sounds absolute shower. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to master that in its current state. It would need the mix sorting out. Moving on, we have Nectar, or the track's called Nectar. Here we go. Yeah, lovely stuff. The weight in this tune's great. The snare's punching hard. Everything's just sitting really, really well. So this is Ballisticus, I believe. Hopefully I've pronounced it right. I was enjoying listening to it, so it weren't boring in any way. And the layout looks pretty straightforward as well. The length of the tune is about 5 minutes, nearly 6 minutes. Probably doesn't need to be that long. It looks like a self-master, like he's put a limiter on it to bring it up. It would be nice to probably bring this up a little more than where it is, because I mean it's only hitting it's just bouncing around the -8 mark. That's quite low in comparison to a lot of drum and bass tracks, especially in this nature. You want to be hitting at least -6, touching -5 to really be smacking it hard. I mean, it's not going to be a fair comparison. I mean, that's hitting 5.5 and it's already limited. It's already been clipped. And I'm pushing that further. There is indication of there's audio breakup because of what I'm doing. But I think if you was to have done it in your session, you know, the mix down, it would definitely take it. By pushing it to the level you need it to be. So, for example, if you're in the mix down stage of your tune and you're playing all the elements at the loudest part of the tune, you want to bring it up to the loudest part you want to make it, so -6, -5 lufts, whatever. And if your track is taking it without breaking up or sounding like it's being compressed or squashed or anything, then that's great. But definitely get it to the loudness you need it to be while you're in the mix stage, because otherwise if you're mixing it quiet and then when you do turn it up, you'll probably then go, oh, the bass is too loud or I've got too much top end, and it starts pointing out all the issues in the mix. So just get a limiter or whatever, clipper, whatever you want to use, just chuck it on there. Absolutely solid. So well done. Moving on, we have Orbit version 9.
Look, gang, a door.
I wonder where it leads.
We'll never know.
Stuck in orbit, mayday. Miss my home, my baby. I can't survive without you. Caught up in rotation, lost current location. I'll just float here missing you.
Hi,
some dream world business. Could definitely hear this on like an advert or something, possibly like a game or something like that. The things for me is that although again it's the style of music, it just feels really compressed and at the same time really expanded. So the other thing that I hope to have seen or heard was more harmonics to this sub. It's just a single sine wave. I mean, when this like high note comes in there, again, it'd just be nice to hear those extra harmonic tones. Other than that, I mean, look at the power in that clap. There's a lot of space in this tune. Just looking at the spectrogram here, there's a lot of space. You can see the hats, you can see the clap, you can see the bass. You know, to get that sort of separation, it's good. You know, especially with a tune that's been clipped or limited. It's not a quiet tune. So for me, percussion-wise, great. Just need to sort out extra harmonics in the bass, get some extra tones in there so that the laptops and the small speakers can hear the bass. Just try and get some of those vocal bits under control and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was checking in mono, and I did feel the same. Like if I play mono, then back to stereo. It's a weird one because I honestly thought it was going to disappear, but what it is that they've got a lot of the stereo imaging from those voices and the clap and stuff like that. Strange, but yeah, good tune, solid. Moving on, we've got Southern Bass, Self-Master. Jesus Christ, my days. Oi, That smacks hard. Like, literally, your nan will be getting thrown out the window when this drops. So, it only just occurred to me that this is Moisin. This is actually the man like Moisin. And honestly, how this guy's come leaps and bounds in the matter of years is incredible. It's like he was making great tunes already, and I was saying this to him the other day, like, you're making great tunes, but it's as if like you've gone away, come back, and found what you were missing in your music. So I mean, the mix is absolutely slamming. It's pushing super high levels. So I mean, because it is pushed and it is an MP3, there is certain parts of the tune that sort of feels closed, and I'm thinking, is that the MP3 or have you just literally slammed the arse off it? But other than that, mate, I would definitely play this out in Birmingham on Friday. Make sure audio is stood there. If not, just literally put him in the straitjacket, mate. Make him listen. Make him. Gag him. This is what we were talking about, metals. Listen to it. It just feels like, again, Animal from the Muppets is just smacking it hard. Just by listening to it, I do think like there is areas that you probably want to go back to when, you know, you've played it out, see how it sounds in a club against other tunes. There's a few areas. I love how it changes throughout the tune and then on the second drop. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting, mate. Filthy business. So we've got Run It, and I think this is also by Master 4 as well. So let's do this. Yes, I mean, this is on that same vibe is what he sent in earlier. Again, it's a shame that it's mono. It's just pure mono. I don't know if this is by mistake or what, but there is no section of the tune that is in stereo. So yeah, I like this vibe. I like this old school vibe, and especially how we used the sample here. You know, all pitched up, and he's got all the aiming going through all them sort of sliced, time stretched, old school style. It's cool, but I believe that it's a similar thing, which is the aiming's very spitty and showery around the 4K on this one, and it's always that aiming. So whether he's using a bad aiming or what, I don't know. But definitely look at what's happening with the aiming. Are you EQing it? Are you using some sort of saturation on it? But look at what's happening in the chain. Because this feels scooped in the middle, the low end feels pushed and the top end feels pushed as well. These are sort of like reasons that indicate to me that he's either mixing the tune down very quietly. I call it like the seesaw effect, where he's adding a bit of bottom and then he's like, oh no, it's too dull, I need to have some tops. No, I need to have some bottom. And he's just adding either side, and what it's doing is it's just scooping the mids. So you got to try and look at volume as EQ. It sounds strange, but volume can be EQ at the same time, because if you turn something down and reduce the top end, it's going to feel like it's really far back, like really far back in the room. It creates depth. If you have something loud and bright, it's going to feel like it's right in your face, and that is placement in a mix. Getting the elements in your head, knowing, well, I want that up the front, so you know it needs to be a bit brighter, or I need to scoop out some of the mids, and I want this in the back, so probably turn it down, roll some of the tops, and it really helps just by turning things up and down. So need to get that tonal balance right. It could be a room thing, it could be a monitoring issue, could be anything along these lines. Right, so DJ Uniques and Papa G, Like a Western.
Right, it's a fucking Like a West. right? It's a fucking truth. Waka West.
Oh gosh, man, like Papa G and Uniques, you know. Listen, it doesn't come to any surprise, mate, that it is an absolute smash of a tune. The mix is really, really tight as well. It's a nice mix. You've used the stereo imaging nice. I probably wouldn't have the kick as stereo. If you want to incorporate the kick in the sides, then I wouldn't have it that much. It's around 100 hertz, I think, or 150. There's a couple of basses where it starts coming up here. Again, similar sort of thing what I was saying to the other tune. More harmonics, like get more harmonics on there, like a second, a third or fifth, just so that line is repeated again and again and again, so it's just got that upper tones for the mobile phones. I'm not sure you've added like sidechaining from the kick to the bass, because here, unless you've gelled it really well, yeah, so I know there's a plugin that Moisin likes to use which creates these harmonics in a very, very easy way without destroying the sound as well. It's a cool plugin. There was a sound as well, like an effects, and that again, that's the sort of thing that I was trying to say in Moisin's tune. When that Reese comes in, have an effect like the blip or some sort of whoosh effect, and you've got it in your tune. It just needs to be louder. It's in one of the responses, like where it goes bass, like call and response. There's a gap where you use an effect. There, yeah. That boop. Probably come up in key with that. Make it louder. Probably earlier. Let's just go back a minute. You know, like the gaps. I know it's a roller and it's proper stomping as well, but you know how it was back in the day when someone exposed a drum loop, you'd be like, I'm having that kick, I'm having that snare. And it's kind of like that where, do you put an effect? Do you put something there to not to fill it, but to just not have a drum loop? Hopefully that makes sense. Like, so for example, at the end of the bar, you come with the same bass, but a different key. You know, one of them ones. Just like it's like a cover up. Yeah. You know where I'm going with that. So, mate, again, solid. The mix is solid. If you were to say that's the only copy I've got in the world, I need it mastering, I will be able to master that, mate. There is no problem with that whatsoever. Just those little minor things, which, again, is stylistic choices. It's not, oh, it must be. You have to do it. It's just, again, it's just a personal opinion. So interested to hear this Scuff remix. I remember you signing a couple of his tunes many years ago before he was, you know, as he was trying to make his name. Mastered a lot of his work for other labels, including yours, Hazardous Music. So let's check it out. Last one. Okay then. Mate, so Scuff is going down some different route right now. The kicks and snares are obviously homemade kick snares from a synth. They sound really, really well put together. It's solid. It's very solid. There's a lot of space. You can see everything lighting up. So the kick, the snare, the kick, the snare, the bass, like everything's got a lot of space in there. You can see the high-end energy coming off the snare, the hats. It's really well put together. I mean, personally, I do love how hard the kick and snare hit, but I don't know if it's one of them sort of tunes where it didn't need like a really punchy snare. It could have just worked with a clap. Could have a quick look depending on whereabouts the claps are and stuff. So claps, they don't sound like claps. Let's just use that for example. Let's just drop that in there. Right, so okay. You can kind of see where I'm going with it. And then without it. Obviously without the sidechain lagging so long, it might have worked better with just a clap. I don't know. It's just an experimental thing there. But nevertheless, it is a solid tune, mate, for your label. So that brings us to the end. And big ups as always to everybody that jumped in the chat. If anyone needs any mastering, just hit me up, compoundaudio.net, or just email me at dapz@compoundaudio.net. So yeah, love you and leave you. Big ups to everyone.
When you want your mastering proper.
Compound Audio, we specialise in digital and analogue mixing and mastering. Catering for major record labels, independent labels and self-financed artists.
Right now it's Azza from TNA. I'm here to let you know that I use Compound Audio for mastering.
This is Devilman, and I use Dapz at Compound Audio, yeah?
Hi, my name's DJ Rap, and I have been working with Dapz from Compound Audio to master my records for the last 10 years.
Yo, this is DJ Fantasy, SAS in the house. And you know what? We use Compound Audio for all our mastering.
It's TJ, label A&R at D&B All Stars, and whenever it comes to getting tunes finalised and mastered, I go to Dapz at Compound Audio.
Yo, this is X-Man, and standardly I work with Dapz down at Compound Audio.
For more information, go to www.compoundaudio.net.